The content discussed in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or mortgage advice. Always consult with a licensed professional before making any decisions regarding mortgages or financial matters.
Welcome to the Canadian Mortgage Show. Here are mortgage professionals Alex Pang and Alex Shanks to cut through the BS and educate Canadians on all things mortgages and real estate.
Welcome to another episode of the Canadian Mortgage Show. This is episode 37. Alex Shanks here. I'm Alex Pang, and there's Alex Shanks. How you doing, Alex?
Exactly. You got it there. I gotta ask you, Alex. Do you have it on your board? Do you got it written down how many episodes we're at? Because I always wait. I'm like, oh, are we at 34? Are we at 35? I'm like, oh no, we're at 37, 36.
Yes.
And so
that's
you got the good memory that way.
Awesome. Well, you know how a lot has happened in a week. Your Leafs last week were up 2-0 on Florida.
Oh.
What happened?
I've been riding a high. I mean, every other podcast, I think we started every time I got to say like, "Oh, my Leafs are winning," and now that's not the case, and they look absolutely horrible. Lose 6-1, lost that, and I'll call it tomorrow. We're losing. I'll say it, and I'm jumping to the bandwagon of the Oilers.
Oh man. Before we talk about the Oilers, I'm like, yeah, I've always kind of been a Leafs hater, but I mean, if they lose tomorrow, I mean, they probably have to like tear it down. Like they have to dismantle the core, right? Because
Tavares to me was already gonna be gone, I think, and I mean it's more like what happens to Marner really is the one that I really think. I think Nylander stays. I think Matthew stays. It would be like Tavares and Marner would probably be gone.
Yeah, like even when they brought in Tavares, we already knew from like all the people from the outside world were like, you guys are top heavy. Like you're spending all this money on your forwards, and they were struggling on defense for a while. And thankfully they brought in OEL and Chris Tanev, ex Canucks, by the way. And
they only get them on discount because the Canucks are paying them for everything else.
Exactly. And I mean, the world has seen Chris Tanev. He's basically the glue that's a stalwart in the back. Like if they actually have an award for best defensive defenseman, I think Chris Tanev would easily be top 3. He'd be a finalist, like perennial.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's been great, and it's sad. I felt like the way that they were playing hockey before was really good. The last 2 games have just been sad. They're not skating. Even the defense has been bad, and it's just like, all right, well, at least before you used to be able to score a bunch of goals. You can't even score any goals now.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I've heard too, like ever since Anthony Stolarz got injured and he had the concussion, it probably started with that shot from Bennett off the head, and then him bumping him. I think it might have culminated like that. But yeah, the Leafs are not the same. So I mean, if they lose, then all the daggers are out. But I guess if they somehow squeeze out a win in Florida, force a Game 7, then the witch hunters
either way, it's the exact same. If they do not make it past this round, it's the exact same thing. Like we've done this over and over. It's like they have to make it further than the second round here, or it's like, hey, stop doing the same thing.
This marks the second time in the Matthews Marner era, the 9 years that they've been with the team, that they've actually made it to the second round. So that's not enough in Leaf Nation, so to speak. But man, I have no one to cheer for. I am not cheering for the Oilers. I'm like, good for them. Back to back.
I'm feeling for Connor McDavid.
Yes, it would be nice for the best player to win a cup at least. The Sidney Crosbys. I was so happy when Ovechkin won in 2018. It was almost like, oh, as a Canucks fan, I feel your pain too. Like the sad club is finally gone, and when Ovechkin celebrated like all summer long and swimming in a pool in Vegas.
It was the funnest thing ever.
Yeah.
The way that how it was amazing.
We were all vicariously cheering for him. We're like, we're right there for you, buddy.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I'm not cheering for the Oilers. I'm cheering for Connor McDavid. That's who I would be cheering for.
Yeah. So I mean, like, good on them. I mean, they have this on again, off again relationship with Stuart Skinner. Like he's good one few games, he's terrible a few, and then back to back shutouts. I'm like, hey, good on them. Like that's who you signed up,
Fuck,
like
man,
who you got.
as a coach, that would be a hard thing getting to play that. Like, how do you know? Like, all right, let's give it a try here, bud.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's good that you have all that talent to make up for shaky goaltending. Even when you don't have the best goaltender, you can somehow muster off a win. But enough of that. We gotta get to the show, right, Alex?
Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about, and I mean, it's again, we're finally, it's mainly going to be talking about the housing market and stuff that way, just on the economy, and a little bit of politics in there.
Okay, so let's just start off here. Some reports released out in April. Canada added just 7,400 jobs in April, so it pushed the unemployment rate up 2.2% to 6.9%, mostly because manufacturing and retail trade has slumped. Manufacturing has lost 31,000 jobs, retail
Yep.
trade 27,000.
Yep.
Well, surprise, surprise, public administration gained 37,000 jobs. Um, I mean, this is kind of
And
that's the only thing that's actually doing well is the public sector.
that's, yeah, just got to just keep getting that. And you can always boost the numbers if you just keep adding people there. But I mean, they did lay off. They left like CRA. Like I heard from some accountants, like the CRA let off like a bunch of people. And it was like during tax season. And it's like, what, like, again, government, like, what the fuck are we thinking here? Why would we let people off at the busiest time, the most stressful time? We're going to do it right now. Hey, why don't we finish the contract and then we'll let the people go?
Well, I can tell you it was around the election time, and it was all about optics. Like I had a friend like I have a friend that she's on a temp contract with CRA and it didn't get renewed. So like
Yeah.
I mentioned this before, I do feel bad for her, but at the same time, we knew that there's just way too many employees in
Oh,
government.
totally. Yeah.
So from a grand scheme of things, it was kind of necessary. But I mean,
Yeah.
just
And then, I mean,
clearly,
we got this graph here, and like our producer, he'll be able to put it up there. But I mean, the widening gap between the public, private, and self-employed, it's the one that really shocks me, to be honest here, Alex, is the self-employed. That's like the really the actually the saddest thing to see here. How we're actually it's going negative. But I mean, the public sector since COVID has just skyrocketed. Like it's before, if we were to look at this 2020, each one was kind of riding near each other, but like the gap that we're talking about now is insane.
it's not like our government or CRA, for instance, it's not like they provide better service.
Just
So
nothing's increased. Like we're not getting more stuff. We're not getting more help. We're not getting more support in any way.
yeah, if anything, like how do you pay for all these employees? Is it like we're getting more taxation or we're just going further into debt as a country?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we know that costs have gone up. I just got my property tax bill and my property taxes went up like $500 from last year. And it's not like
Yeah,
our home value went up. If anything, it
yeah,
might have stayed the same or went down. And my wife was saying the same thing, like, but our home value went down. I'm like, well, guess what? Cities are
doesn't
starved for
matter.
tax dollars. What they do to increase it, they increase the rates on certain things like the school levy, the transit levy, all these other kind of, itemized stuff. So it's one of these
I always
big
find that
sigh.
it's like, well, our garbage does not get picked up better. It's probably worse than it's ever been. Our roads in some cases are worse than ever, and it's like, well, hey, if you're taking our money and not using it for something, well, that's where there's something wrong. Hey, if our money was going to good use, we wouldn't be complaining right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, with the whole jobs report, it does increase the odds of a June rate cut. So that's June the 4th. That's about 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's kind of this graph that Globe and Mail released. It's not like this is news. We already knew about it, but it kind of confirmed like it's been more of the
It's
same.
just so crazy. And I mean, it's sad to see that again, like Canada was built a lot on business owners. And I mean, we're doing nothing to support them. We're not giving any benefits for them. We're making it harder for business owners. And we can see it right there. Well, why would someone be starting a business if they can just go get a job in the government?
Exactly. And you know what? We'll talk about it later about businesses not investing in Canada. But like RBC economics, there's another graph we'll get thrown up here. It's warning that there is no rebound in sight when it comes to housing. It looks like the only positive thing here is Montreal. We've talked about this
Piqua.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
Montreal is just like the darling for the last couple of years has been Calgary, but it looks like the that kind of golden goose has
Very
run its
fun.
course. It's run its
It's
course,
pretty
and
funny. I still keep seeing the realtors pushing that are out in Calgary, pushing like the market's gonna pick up. You gotta buy here. And I mean, this chart on here, they're down negative 22%, and listings are up 15.7, which is
mm,
higher. I mean, Montreal is actually the next highest at 12.1, but like there's so many homes on the market there now in Calgary.
yeah. And then if you see here, the big slumps are Vancouver, Fraser Valley, and the GTA. Anecdotally, the ones that see the most drops are the suburbs because that's seen the most increases during COVID. It would
Totally.
probably see the bigger drops during this kind of essentially it's a downturn.
Now, even though like on here, like I know in Calgary and Edmonton, even though like this is like the say like the amount of homes being sold is down, their prices are not dropping. That's the thing here is like prices across the board, they're not going down here. Like don't get us wrong here, people, and think, hey, prices are going down by 30%. All this means is just the homes are not selling right now.
Yeah, and a lot of sellers still haven't like clued into the reality where their home has been sitting on the market. I've heard some cases, especially condos, have been sitting on the market for like 7 months. And if they don't price it properly, then some choose to just take it off the market, or they're going to learn the hard way where they're going to have to drop their price. And
Well,
each,
it's
yeah,
hard. Isn't it out there, Alex, that some people are saying that they're still waiting for rates to fall below 3% before they buy? Which I mean, like, that's just like, if that's what people are really thinking, that rates are going to go back below 3%, I mean, I just can't see it.
yeah,
I would bet a lot of money on it.
yeah, I doubt it's going to be below 3%. Again, my inkling is probably another 0.5% to like, yeah, the 3.75, 3.99 range is even as low
Yeah.
as 3.5. It could be there. Like if
I could
tariff,
see a
the
three and a
tariff,
half on a variable for a little bit.
yeah.
And yeah,
I
and
mean, we're
that's to me
pretty,
like that.
we're pretty close to being there, but I'd say we would settle around the 3.5, 4% range, how it was before COVID, when it was kind of in that neutral range where it didn't cause inflation, where it didn't cause a recession or deflation either. So
The rates that we're at today, like this is the actual average. Like the rates that we're at right now, around 4%. If we're at that's the average, and I feel like it is a healthy market at this. Like
yeah,
it can still be affordable. It's just right now there's still a lot of fear of the tariffs and obviously the government getting in, and that's where I think it's more fear. Yes, people want rates to go down, but it's where everyone's living on a high from 2020 and 2021.
yeah. I mean, prices have come down from the peak. That's for sure. I mean, we've seen some prices, depending on the property type. It's come down about 10-15% from the peak of COVID. Now, at the same time, it's still higher than pre-COVID. So like it is all relative. Um, but I mean, just like the saying goes, even when it comes to stocks, you buy when no one else wants to buy. Um,
Yeah.
Everything's on discount now. Now, like we're not trying to be like the realtors where like, hey, when's the best time to buy? Anytime's the best time to buy. Honestly, you know, sorry
It's the
to
best
shoot
time
it.
for you. It's
Exactly.
your budget. You have to look
Yeah.
at your budget. Just because, like, yes, right now no one else is buying, but again, it's your budget that really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those who are wanting to wait for interest rates to come down further, so are tens of thousands of other people are going to do that. So right now, the market is not that busy. There's a lot of supply. You have kind of the leverage, so you can negotiate a deal. If you wait for maybe another quarter to 0.5% cut, when a whole bunch of people jump off the fence like you, there might be multiple offers again. Like,
Yeah,
it's
and
been a
we know
while since we've seen multiple offers. Like, probably not since the COVID highs around, like it probably started ending around the first half of 2022. So it's been a good 3 years since I heard multiple offers and subject free.
Yeah, so we still get them where I'm at, Alex. Like, I mean, I had two people that put offers in today, multiple offers. Now, again, this is a game that realtors play. There's no offers. It's dead for like 35 days. Finally, someone wants to make an offer. Then, of course, oh, now someone's coming in and it's going to be a multiple. But yeah, I mean, we even have people going in, no subjects and everything. It just has to be the right property, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. We have some changes to, we've always talked about, immigration in Canada. It needs to be reformed and such. Now there's UK is making some changes regarding their immigration policies. So um, I'm just going to read this off here. So the skill level to enter the UK will be at a degree level. So I take it it's a college or university degree, and there's going to be fees for employers who are hiring from overseas will go up. So I guess
Yep.
whatever fees that they have, they're going to raise it. They're going to increase the requirements for English language, as well as, there's going to be a contribution-based model for citizenship that will go up to 10 years from currently at 5. The care workers visa is going to be shut down because it looks like there was some abuse there. And digital IDs and electronic visas for immigrants, they will institute that to help track them. So it'll be easier to deport if they overstay.
Okay.
My big question here is, do you like it? And should Canada do the same thing?
I mean, I could see. So the issue I have for the first one, the skill level. Now, I mean, the hardest thing here is, well, okay, so what if they're coming? Like, is it the degree in their country or is it a degree in Canada? Like, what's the base level for that? And I mean, in Canada, we need a lot of construction workers. Like, that is a big issue here. And so, I mean, we maybe have to say for certain people, but I don't. That one's a hard one. Fees for employers, like that should be like hands down instantly. If you are going to, now I know because I used to hire people, and you have to post on certain jobs. You have to go to Canada only at first. Then you can legally go out to wherever you want. Like that's how they allow you to do it. And I think that should be like, well, have you actually tried your hardest to get like a Canadian citizen? Or are you just posting that to get the cheapest person? Is that all you're trying to do? And that's what a lot of companies try and do. They say, oh, yeah, you got to work all these hours. And really, they're just doing it because they want to get someone cheap in.
Yeah,
The language one, I think that's a good one. Like increasing that, like having a better barrier there. The contribution based model for 10 to 5, I agree with that. Care workers, that's another one. I think it does get taken advantage of for sure. But as we have an aging population here in Canada, I'll tell you this, I don't want to be a care worker. I know a lot of people that don't want to. A lot of the immigrants, they're very good at caring for people. And I mean, that's like, how are we going to fund that, or how are we going to have people that are going to take care of them without that?
Yeah, I do like the digital IDs and electronic visas, so it can people can easily be tracked. For Canada, we are lacking skilled workers, so like doctors, nurses, especially tradespeople. So in terms of the degree level, I guess for Canada, it'd be for trades. It should be the trade, like it should be skilled trades and degrees um, for you know uh, like for the healthcare. Like, we don't need any more Uber drivers. We don't need
Yeah,
any more service employees that work at Tim Hortons or McDonald's or whatever.
yeah,
So
100%. That's
I
the thing that
uh,
needs to be stopped. But those
yeah,
companies can't be hiring
and
that.
the big thing that we need to like essentially like stop the abuse is the government subsidizing like immigrant wages, because a lot
Yeah,
of it like companies just hire only foreigners because they only pay 40 cents on the dollar for what comparatively to someone else who's making minimum wage. So that's a broken model that's been abused. That loophole needs to be closed right away.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the hardest thing is like, again, what are companies going to do? Like their companies don't want profits to go down. So again, that's just it. It's a full
Yeah.
reform will happen. I mean, it's pretty big UK. Like they're making some big changes.
Yeah, I can see the whole fallout of this could be prices will go up, or the companies will choose to leave and go somewhere
Yeah,
cheaper. Just like how
yeah,
Quebec, Amazon decided not to, they shut down in Quebec because the employees wanted to unionize. So,
totally.
yeah, I mean, it is kind of a balance too. It's like we want to let in, um, we want to promote business, and to promote business, you need cheap labor or lower taxes, lower fees, and such. So, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like this pendulum that we always talk about. We can't shut it off completely because the byproduct is the company's like, oh, it's too expensive. We're going to leave here anyway, which kills it helps the immigration. But we're like, shoot, we have no
Yeah.
businesses here now. So, yeah, we need to find something that's a good balance of everything without any fraud and abuse.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, we finally got here in Canada, though, talking about some politics here. Mark Carney did announce his new cabinets, the people that are going to be appointed. Now, I'm not going to say all these names here because I'm going to mess them up. But we got Francis Philippe Champagne, Minister of Finance and National Revenue. We don't really know much about him. Sean Fraser, Minister of Justice and Attorney General. He was the housing minister before, was he not? Sean
Yes,
Fraser, I
he
think.
was immigration and then
Immigration, that's what it
housing.
was.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he said he wasn't going to run again. And
yeah,
then somehow he's going to run again because the
yeah,
thought is, hey, liberals are going to win. So, like, hey, I'm going to jump back on the
yeah.
bandwagon.
And then same thing. I didn't think we'd be seeing Chrystia Freeland back in there, but she's now Minister of Transport and Internal Trade. And I mean, it's like, so like you were the finance minister before, and now you're doing this. Like you're now saying that you're going to do transport and trade again. It just kind of blows my mind. Like, are you actually like, are you certified to be doing this stuff? Um, Then the Gregor Robertson, I don't know much about him. I know that he was the mayor in Vancouver. Is that correct there, Alex?
Yes, he was.
For 10 years, saw the biggest increase of home prices in the lower mainland there
Mm-hmm.
ever. So he is the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, the minister responsible for Pacific economic development in Canada. And then we got the last one, Stephen Gilbert, Minister of the Canadian Culture. And yeah, tell me what's your thoughts on the people there?
Well, a couple things here is essentially moving the deck chairs around. The last 10 years of the liberals run our country to down the toilet. You're just moving the actors around, to do different things. They may not be um, uh, certified or educated or like what's the word qualified to do that job, but it's their trusty soldier. They're going to move you somewhere else, and you'll figure it out, I guess, or have your advisors help figure it out. But here's a couple of ones here is that out in the West Coast here, Gregor Robertson, like you said, former mayor of Vancouver. I mean, he was asked this. He was kind of like, it was almost like an entrapment question where we already know what the answer is. When he was asked whether home prices need to go down to improve affordability, he said, no, we need to increase housing supply. I mean, the same thing was said when Justin Trudeau said that too. Like, he later admitted, like we need it to be more affordable, but we can't hurt 50% of the homeowners in Canada, like 50% who are homeowners. We can't hurt their home equity because it's based on their wealth. So he
Yeah.
just confirmed what we
No.
all knew along anyway.
Now you just got to be the guy that is from Surrey that just won $80 million here in BC, and then you're good to go. You can buy a house in Surrey.
Oh,
It doesn't matter what the home price.
Dang, $80 million. I found out about this guy. He's 35 years old. I'm like,
Yeah,
what in the
he's,
world?
He's an immigrant and everything, and I mean he's been working, and I just saw the video, and I mean he's been trying to work. Like, do I spend time with my family? Do I work my ass off? Like trying the life that everyone has to live just to try and get ahead, especially in the lower mainland. The prices there, living cost, everything. And so I mean I do hope he does some budgeting. If you're listening to this, sit down with someone to help you do some financial planning. Look at how you're going to take care of this money.
You know, like, I'm sure you and your wife have this conversation as well. How much money do we need to win in a lottery to not work anymore? We first started off as 5 million. That was 10 years ago. 5 million was like, okay, maybe. Now 5 million, especially in the lower mainland or GTA, it's nothing. It's honestly
I think I could do.
half
I
of it
think I could
goes to
do
a
five.
house.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course. Like if I won today, if I had what I had 5 million, I could like do that, be good for sure because
Okay,
it would give
you
me
could
more
you
more.
think you could, well, where you live on the island, 5 million you could retire on. Like, you would stop brokering, you'd give me the big middle finger. I ain't doing this podcast anymore. I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
That's
okay.
because I would keep my rental properties, and I mean, I
Okay.
wouldn't have to like I could live on the income that way, live on the dividend income and stuff. And I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it could be. Yeah, obviously, if you had to buy a house, different story. If you're like, I won 5 million, now I got to go buy a house for 2 million. Well, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't think 5 million is enough for me and my wife. I would say 10. 10 would be pretty good. 5 is like,
You guys drink a lot. You guys drink a lot of bobo tea, so it's
yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, my wife likes to drive a Mercedes, so we got a
yeah.
freaking expensive ass lifestyle. So, a lot of the,
I mean, I'll be moving to Thailand.
I mean, a lot of the advice that we give is really for about our us, and we need to follow it too.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, so I mean, what Gregor said is like, if he's going to say yes, we've talked about this before. It would be political suicide to say that we need home prices to go down to be more affordable. Um,
Yeah,
so, I mean, what is he going to say? We all know it needs to go down, but he's not going to say it.
yeah,
So it's really just um, making sure that the mass voter base are happy, like the homeowners and boomers. Essentially, it's just going to keep shutting out the younger generation and first time buyers. I mean,
yeah,
we've talked about this on months on end. It's more of the same, to be honest.
yeah. And that's and I mean that is. But I mean, I know I saw a couple people grilled Mark Carney after of like, hey, so you've brought in the guy that increased the home prices in BC more than anyone ever has, and so what's the plans there?
Yeah, exactly. So I put Stephen Jobot on here because he said something interesting. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, I mean, he says we don't need new pipelines as we have enough already, and added our existing pipelines are operating at 40% capacity. The 40% capacity, I don't know if that's true or not. And I mean, we have enough already. Again, it's like, yes, you could say BC has enough, and BC going down, Ontario has enough going down. We have nothing going across.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this kind of goes against what Mark Carney said on a CTV interview when he was asked, um, "Are you open to changing Bill C-69 and the emissions cap?" And he did, yeah, it could include both, absolutely. So it's almost like your trusty soldier here is not following the party line. So what's like, who do we believe? Do we believe the PM, or do we believe the minister who's in charge of the infrastructure in Canada? So
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, we know that we need some stuff that way, but yeah, I don't think it's going to come with the liberals that way.
yeah, yeah. And you know what, big thing too, speaking of Carney, he did say that there will be no federal budget this year. Um, have you, I don't remember any government in my lifetime that has no budget. Maybe except COVID. Um,
Yeah, I feel like, but again, like I just don't understand, like how, like again, I don't understand why and what is stopping them from having at least having some sort of thing. And I mean, like, what was it when Chrystia Freeland finally stepped down? We had some guardrails, we blew past the guardrails. I mean, at least have some sort of target to aim for, not be like, oh yeah, well we didn't say what we were gonna do. We spent $2 trillion. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like saying our own household budgets. Oh, we don't have a budget. We just blow our money and borrow what we can just to live the lavish life. And who cares because you only live once. That's like saying the
Yeah,
same thing about Canada. Like, right? It's like saying, yeah, you have a rudderless ship and you have no guidance. Like, how do you know if you're
yeah, it
spending too
doesn't.
much or
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe someone, hey, if you have a better understanding of like, I always get I hear a lot of people saying, hey, you can't treat the government like a business. I mean, to me, I believe you should be able to. I can understand maybe you feel that yes, it should be different than a business, but explain to me what would be the reason why that they cannot have a budget? Like, what is the reason why they can't have it? You can say, hey, these are some of the things that we're going to try and do. I'm not going to hold you to it. If you can say, hey, this year, like we're spending capital, that's what we're going for. I'll give you that. But like, how can you not have something on paper? Not just,
yeah.
hey, like, I think we're going to spend money here. Because then that at least we can figure out, well, is it actually going to the right companies? Are we just going to go to a bunch of contractors? Are we going to make a fake app that does nothing? Or we're going to make a podcast that costs $1 million? Like, these are the things why we need a budget.
Exactly, man. If our podcast cost $1 million, I think Alex is pocketing all the money because I'm not making money off this.
That's yeah. You paid for it. I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I mean, speaking of the no budget thing, like this kind of I'm kind of going ahead here, but this kind of goes into I mean, the whole idea could be like the reasoning is, we're dealing with tariffs. So maybe all things are on the table. And
Okay, I mean,
it,
like that again. I could see that of saying like, hey, you know what, we can't really plan it again. Like, hey, you've made me think a bit there, Alex. But I mean, why couldn't you have two budgets? A
yeah.
budget with no tariff, a budget with tariffs.
Well, I mean, speaking of tariffs, Carney said this week or it's kind of revealed that
They're removing all
we've effectively removed all the tariffs on U.S. products. They've announced a 6-month tariff exemption um, for products used in manufacturing, food and beverage packaging, healthcare, public safety, national security, and automakers get a break too. So companies that
I mean,
manufacture in
it's gonna be
Canada,
the
like
same as the
GM,
UK. Like, the Canada is now kowtowed to the US. Like the tariffs that the US have on Canada, like maybe they're going to get decreased here, but like they're not going away.
yeah. So what happened to this elbows up crowd? I still don't understand what does that slogan mean? Like elbows up for
I'm
what?
still waiting. What wasn't it early this week that Trump said he's gonna be breaking like some breaking news, but to like life shattering news between U.S. and Canada. I mean, are we gonna get that here? I was kind of hoping we would get it before the podcast, to be honest. Actually,
Yeah, and he said that, but it wasn't trade related or tariff related. So I'm like,
no,
okay,
no.
it's like dangling a carrot. Like I got something, but I'm not gonna tell you. Like I have a secret. So why don't you just tell us when you want to tell us? But I mean, it says here that the prime minister is focusing on strengthening our own domestic economy, which we all agree with. So it's partly backed by government infrastructure, housing initiatives, and seek out new trade alliances with other countries. No, we agree with that as well. And he's also kind of made it clear that this retaliating tariffs shouldn't be a dollar for dollar retaliation, which former Prime Minister Trudeau also supported. So
Yep.
we'll see. But yeah,
Now we did get the stats for the Canadian home sales that nearly fell 10% last year. We obviously already talked about that. While the average sale price dropped 3.9% to total over Canada, 679,866. I don't know about where you live there, Alex. For a house like that's like our average place would be 700. I mean, your average price is probably 1.5.
yeah. In BC, it's around. If you're looking for I think its average is like 1.1, and a
Yeah.
little bit lower. I think the difference between Lower Mainland and Toronto is like Lower Mainland's about 50,000 higher. I think 50 to 75,000 higher. So yeah, um, like BMO Economics even said too, like what we said top of the show is that people are delaying their purchase decisions because 1 in 4 are waiting for rates to fall below 3%. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? you keep waiting, you're gonna miss the boat. So
Yeah. And that's where it's
yeah,
again, look at the budget. But I mean, this is an interesting one. The Canadian home prices, like it's down 18% from the peak. All the people on TikTok, I remember Alex when we were posting back in the day, a lot of content. Home prices are falling 50%. Everything's going down. I mean, like I remember talking about, hey, like home prices are not going to drop 50%. Yes, they are going to go down. I mean, I'd love to go back to find those people that comment and say, ha, did not fall 50%.
yeah. I mean, when we historically look at government policies and housing and such, they will let housing prices run amok until it gets too crazy. But they will darn well not let a housing crash happen. Not like the
Yeah.
States, because we have like Canadians love real estate, and we have more like a higher rate of home ownership than the Americans, and that
Yeah.
the governments will do anything in their power to not let real estate drop too much, because a large amount of the voter base has their wealth in real estate. So
Yeah.
myself included, in you too, so to speak. So we've also talked about, we need to open up interprovincial trade. What we're talking about, like, buying liquor from, province to province and having all these tariffs and stuff. Here's an interesting one. So Ontario has tabled new legislation that would allow out of province realtors to more easily work within the province. Now, this could be like the trade barrier thing, offering services, but some are warning that this move could lower Ontario's high standards and open the door to unprepared agents working in unfamiliar markets. We talked about fair trade amongst provinces. Does it apply in this case, or what do you think about
I
that?
don't, yeah, I don't think like again, and I would say like, well, I mean, yes, do you want to make it easier if say someone wants to move from BC to become a realtor in Ontario? Yes, that could make sense, but why is a realtor helping someone buy from BC in Ontario? Like real estate, you want someone, a realtor local. Like you need someone for that. Mortgages, Canada wide. It really doesn't matter that way. You want someone that understands what's the different land transfer tax for between the provinces and the different programs they have. But a good mortgage broker can understand that. A realtor, you do not want a realtor that is from Vancouver Island buying in Toronto. The market is completely different.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Especially realtors, you're dealing with land things. Um, you don't know, certain areas have certain issues or certain things like.
What if there's going to be a jail built next door to the house and everything?
Exactly. Or you're buying in this catchment, which there's going to be, like you said, a prison that's going to go up, or there's going to be a landfill that's going to be built beside it. You don't know that as someone who's out of province. Now, for us, we're just dealing with the finances. uh it's easier for us to, like, in some rights we can do mortgages across the country, but for real estate, because it's so hands-on and so like
And
geography
I mean,
specific.
why would you not want someone like going into the house, looking at it for you? Like, I mean, that is a job of a realtor, is actually going in and like doing their due diligence for you. I mean, as a buyer, you want to go look at it, but if your realtor is not going in and looking at this and saying, "Hey, there's an issue here, there's an issue here," you need a new realtor.
Yeah, I understand the fair trade among provinces. I don't think it applies in this case.
No, no, definitely not.
All right, so if we move on here, a couple of things here, with the tariffs here. This is a big thing, especially that's going to hurt the auto industry in Canada. Is Honda is postponing its plans for an EV plant in Canada for at least 2 years. Now
And they were
they,
going to spend like $15 billion, like was the plan.
yeah, yeah. Do you know why they're postponing it, or are they deciding to be like, oh, we're going to do it in the States?
I don't think they've said that. I think they've just like delayed it just because of like the car industry and manufacturing at the moment. I mean, obviously there was the government, like Doug Ford had said that they were going to give them a lot of money. They did say that they were going to give them about $2.5 billion in tax credits, about $2.5 billion in other support. From what I've read online, is that none of that money had been given out to them yet, which is good because I mean, there's a lot of other times where the government gives people, companies money and then they don't go and do what they said that they were going to do.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's because the whole maybe the people are kind of exhausted with EVs. Like it hasn't had the uptake that that the governments were hoping that oh everyone's going to be EV and we're going to get rid of fossil fuels forever. Whereas the issues of EV has slowly creeped up. Like we've heard issues with Tesla. Like forget the whole Elon Musk political stuff, but like the longevity of batteries, the higher cost of vehicles, and the huge cost of replacing the batteries. When it runs out and such. I wonder if there's kind of like a fatigue in the market where it's not the whole shiny, the shiny new object that people thought it was.
Well, and I mean, the price of them is just so exorbitant. And I mean, before when you got the rebates and everything, it's like, okay, well, I could buy this EV. I'm going to save money. Yes, I don't have gas. And now, I mean, even the electricity cost, like for what they're needed now, the savings just like they don't pencil out in the same way. And again, I mean, the governments want us all to be EV, but we don't have the right power grid to even do it yet. And that's
Exactly.
where I do think, yes, I think that is a for sure a thing that way there, Alex. And I think they're just, kind of scared of what's going to happen with tariffs. Why would they go spend all this money in Canada and be like, oh shit, this has to be over to the US now?
No, like I mean, EVs are great for milder climates. It's like huge in California, obviously, because it's a warmer climate, and especially in the Lower Mainland. I mean, even parts of Southern Ontario as well. But I can totally see that EVs don't have a huge uptake in the prairies because you have extreme weather. Like we know that the battery capacity goes down by like what 10 or 20% when it's cold weather. So it's just not viable or just not realistic for EVs to be that popular, like in Alberta or Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and the prairies. So I don't know. That could be it too. Um, a few other things like here. So the Loblaws, so they own Superstore and they have their own store. The CEO, um, he warns Canadians that over 6,000 products will carry a T symbol on it. And what does a T mean? Tariffs. So it's going to be hit by tariffs. I mean, there's progress on talks, but not really for Canada. What this means is that prices will rise.
All I'm saying, Alex, is I think that they should have to let us see where did this price increase. Prove it to me that you had to pay more money for it and you're not charging us. Yes, if you're charging us the tariff that you had to pay, all right. But if you're adding an extra price to it because you're like, well, I could increase my profit here now. And they've been caught doing this time after time again.
Yeah, yeah. So who knows? We all know that things are getting more expensive. My goodness, I went for coffee today. Speaking of which, I went for coffee with a colleague today. I got a matcha iced matcha latte, and I had almond milk in it, so there's a little bit of extra charge. It cost me $9. I'm like, what in the
Jesus.
world? Freaking up! Am I in like Paris or something? I'm like,
That's insane. Yeah, that's craziness. I mean, yeah, we go to a local spot here, and I mean, it's pretty much 5.50 per coffee, and I mean, even that's just like it's wild. But I'm like that. I can keep paying 5.50, but if I looked at it and said $9, nope, wouldn't be paying for it.
yeah, it was 6.95 plus an extra dollar for almond milk, and of course
Yeah.
they asked you to tip. So I can go off on a rail
Oh,
on another thing about tipping
I
culture.
don't tip there.
Like
There.
if I agree with one meme here. Like, folks, please chime in about tipping culture. We understand you pay for service in a restaurant, fine. But if you're standing up and getting your food, I don't think you need to tip. Like, especially at like a cafeteria, or if you're standing up at a Starbucks or something like that. Like, tipping culture has kind of gotten out of hand.
Oh, it's crazy. We coffee our coffee shop, we don't tip, and it's like, well, I mean, we could tip, but then we're only going to go to you once every 2 weeks. Do you want the business that way? And it's definitely got out of hand.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
this is the one that you were talking about, businesses getting out of Canada. Now Bell Canada is going to be canceling a $32 million contract to expand high-speed internet and cell service in Canada, but instead will be investing that money in the United States. Now, I will say this. I don't know again, why are we spending money on like internet when we do have like satellite internet now? And I mean, Canada spent, what did they give that one company in Canada, like $1 billion, and they have like 100 satellites or something. It's like, this is where like Starlink is already working. It already works. Everyone knows that it works. Why are we not making sure every person in Canada that doesn't have internet right now, they can get it? Like it would happen instantly. And the government could use that money to make it happen.
Well, the easy answer is because Elon Musk owns it, and
Yeah,
he's part of the
and
U.S. and the whole Trump
that's fair. But I
administration.
mean, again, it's we say that we want to help these communities that are up there and everything. And yeah, I mean, the $32 million, it's that to me is not like a massive like loss for Canada. I don't think like that's not record breaking or anything. And Bell, I've never had good service from Bell.
Yeah, and I didn't read too much into it, but I believe the contract was a more of a expanding the internet more towards the Maritimes and the rural areas. Um, but yeah, I do agree with you with satellite. I mean, it's kind of like if you want to live in the rural, you kind of it is cheaper living, but you're not going to have like high connectivity. So it's kind of like you get what you pay for. I mean, it's cheaper living. You want to be away from the crowd, the big cities. I mean, you're not going to get high speed internet. You'd be lucky to
Well,
get some.
I mean, if you get Starlink, it's like you can get. My parents have it up, and they like where they live. There is no high speed internet. Other like you can get Telus, and I mean you're talking 20 megs. Like that's the upload speed. Starlink is at 500 for them now.
Wow.
No issues. Not an issue at all.
Yeah. So I mean, you said that $32 million is not a big deal for Bell Canada, but here's another $30 million deal. I actually think it's a pretty darn good deal. So we all heard that Hudson's Bay has gone bankrupt and they were up for sale. Well, Canadian Tire is buying Hudson's Bay, their brand, including the Bay name, as well as their famed stripe, motif. The was it black, red, yellow, green kind of stripe thing for $30 million.
That
I'm
seems,
like,
yeah. I mean, that seems
that's
like
like
a decent deal.
that's a crazy deal. I thought in its heyday, Hudson Bay could be probably what 3 billion or 300 million, something like that.
I would have been a billion for sure in my head is what I
Yeah,
would have thought.
yeah, like 30 million. Holy, they got a steal. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're obviously not getting any of the locations. They're not getting like any real estate assets with that. That's
yeah,
just the brand and
they're buying the
everything. But I
brand.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's still I think it probably could be a good for them.
Exactly. So, folks, we've talked about it before. You buy things when no one wants to buy it. No one wanted to buy
Yeah,
Hudson Bay. It was a discount. So here's your true example here of companies you make money on the buy, not the sale. So I'm like, this
yeah,
is a steal. This is like a
yeah. And that's I
legacy
mean, again,
brand,
like
right?
they're buying it, like they're getting the assets of the brand, and I mean, it probably has a bunch of debt inside of it as well. Canadian Tire's buying that debt also. They get to
Hmm.
bring the debt over to their good assets that's producing for them, and now they get to write down their income so they don't have to pay any taxes.
Well, I do have to give it to Canadian Tire. Um, they've kind of stayed in their lane in terms of like
Yep.
retail. They've been, uh, you know, like their competitors are like Home Depot, Rona in some sense too, like home improvement and all that stuff. But they've stayed true to the, like providing local service and like just when I go shop too, like even their website's pretty good and all that stuff. So they've stayed true to their core and they've done really well. And so good on them. I'm like, hey, that's actually pretty good for Canadian Tire. And I can totally see that Canadian Tire is not going to keep the Bay running the way it is currently is in the brick and mortar stores. Probably going to move it toward like move their brand inside Canadian Tire in terms of online sales or something like that, or like a section within Canadian Tire kind of thing, like how Zellers was for a little bit within the Bay. But yeah, just it'd be it'd be good to see the Bay kept alive in some right.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then yeah, we'll see how it goes there. But I think we should probably cut it off here, Alex. And it's been a long one, and we still have a bunch more stuff that we just can't get to here today, everyone. But again, me and Alex are here every single week.
Folks. We do appreciate you, liking, supporting, and following. So please share. Please give us a 5-star review, and yeah, share our episode because we want to continue growing this pod and to continue to provide value for you guys. So with that, on behalf of Alex Shanks, I'm Alex Pang. Thanks for tuning into this episode. We'll see you next time.
See you later. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow us. Please give us a 5-star rating. You can even send us an email because we want to know what you guys want to hear about. That's what we're here for. Reach out anytime.